matter. Boom, ba, boom, you dey play me like soccer. Mr. Talk and do, don't tell me Mr. Talk. Say, so long gonna do nothing. So you want, make we change. So from where you from, just sit. Yeah, na London, why na the balance, but the value country. Convince by you plans, people they die, the people they die, the people they suffer, the mommy they dance. Every day, the people are they die. Leaders them when they ask so now why. We sweet, sweet country they cry. And put that walk away the eyes and we country. Living in the dark, civil society, yeah. Got your children. Maybe say journalist, all man not on the move. Yeah, all man not on the move.
The country they cry, any voice they echo. With the 2 million jobs for the youth like the ghetto. As you dey promise inside you manifesto, you don't pass 3 years, 50 days you dey play nesto. How about you na artist where you just dey launch? Just dey for collect, at the end by bunch. And that make you dey fly go over 5-10 per month. Wetin happen in the city with them for being a month. Me no see they come, me no see solar where they 200 buses. Me no see Bola, 4 years they cancel. Me no stay sober if you elect it school. This go in soda, them are waving the top. Don't go inside and shell. They know they talk now cause them pot they boil. They don't go say them fish cutting cause they want make it sell. Okay, they laugh, get that for smell.
Every day, the people and the die. The leaders them when they ask so now one you. Sweet, sweet country they cry. And put that now, walk away the eyes and we country. Man don't in the leader, man don't civil society, man don't yeah. That can man don't got your children, man don't maybe say journalist, all man don't on the move. Yeah, all man don't on the move.
Estimate the truth, process, avocarie. Price the just the rights, the bogari. The people, the money, baobali. Sorry, the Indian feed, baobali, they can do. Pass waiting, they been criticize. They use we and dump, we like we not civilize. Just like a dog, we turn for informant. All over the country, they be in party office. Then they withdraw, but them not the deposits. Up to themselves, then they shape money profits. So guy in a rich, in fact then a conquer. Instead of the build the new city na put up. In my and pa just they cut back with cup up. Where we demonstrate, then keep it like talker. Political prisoners, then they torture. From where they come every day, then they put up.
Yeah, people and the die. The leaders them when they ask so now why. The sweet, sweet country they cry. And put that now, walk away the eyes and we country. Man don't on the move. In the leader, man don't on the move. Civil society, man don't on the move. Yeah. That can man don't on the move. But your children, maybe say journalist, all man don't on the move. Yeah, all man don't on the move.
Ladies and gentlemen, the award for the leader who the life pass all the leader in the world goes to I for don't call her but now we are the stomach. Thank you for good life for winner you and yeah. Thank you. In a sense, the one and only political Jailer Musa.
Hello. Good evening to the people in the European continent. Good evening to Sierra Leoneans. Good afternoon to the people of the United States of America. And good morning to our compatriots in Australia. I have come again today to discuss issues of relevance to the motherland, the Republic of Sierra Leone. We have gone beyond the horizons of keeping silent. In the last 20 or more years, up to 2002, Sierra Leone was a stateless country, a failed state, because of the machinations of a few. Since 2018, after the elections, for all intent and purpose, we seem to be going back to that condition because all the ingredients that fueled the last conflict seem to be present as at now, and they seem to be multiplying every day. I am using the English language partly today because I want to speak to the international community. As at 2002, Sierra Leone was declared peaceful after a long and very stupid war which we had no business fighting. Whatever conditions we would have looked at that time, there were countries in the sub-region of West Africa that had more dire conditions to meet with. They went through it peacefully, and today we go to some of these countries to go and copy. One example is Ghana, the Republic of Ghana. Since 1975, when I was a student at the Jalai University College, University of Sierra Leone, Ghana had been in economic and other forms of decline. I went to Ghana in 1975 on holidays. The conditions I met there were very much unspeakable because in the morning people had to line up in front of these mini marts, what we call in Sierra Leone fuller shop, to buy a squeeze of toothpaste for 20 cedis. To get food to buy was something of an uphill task at that time. But the people of Ghana never went to war. Up to the time we went to war in 1991 in Sierra Leone, things were comparatively better in West Africa, in Sierra Leone, than in most other countries. But we went to war. Whatever the reason was, it took us 10 years, and with some international interventions from the British, for us to come back to normal. Since then, up to 2007, the largest peacekeeping force ever constituted by the United Nations system was stationed in Sierra Leone. And within that same period, huge sums of monies were put not only in maintaining the peacekeeping force, but in other interventions to ensure that the economy and the governance systems are revamped for them to begin to function. Since after the 2007 elections, we have seen progression in Sierra Leone. We have seen a lot of uphill movement. Then came Ebola. Then came other factors and things started sliding down. But they never went that down. They never. Then we had an election in 2018. A new government was ushered in. And since 2018, our democracy is under threat. If people think, oh, because we are not in Sierra Leone, it does not affect us. I want to say this clearly. When things go wrong in the homeland, those of us out here are the ones who are affected most, because at the middle of the night when you should be resting, you get telephone calls. What is it for? People asking for assistance, people complaining about things not working. For God's sake, what is wrong with us that we should not be able to manage our country? So today, I would want to deal with a number of issues, but on the level of why should we allow such things to happen? And maybe what we need to do for us not to slide down the hill further. It is our responsibility as citizens, when things are not going the way they should, to say, not to preach hate, but to say, and say it to correct. Whatever I'm going to say tonight, whoever thinks I'm the enemy, I don't care. It's not your father who died and left Sierra Leone to you. It's all of our forefathers. So all of us have a right to talk and to say what needs to be done for us to maintain trust, for us to maintain peace, and for us to begin to make progress. Because where there is no trust, there can be no peace. And where there is no peace, there can be no progress. Trust is the factor, the primary factor that makes governance. It's the primary factor that keeps countries running. When trust breaks down, then truth ceases to exist. Where truth is slaughtered, that social group, that country will always slide into conflict. These are proven facts. And as far as Sierra Leone is concerned at this material moment, truth and trust are lost. We see it every day. If a head of state can go to a public place and children shout on him, it means trust is lost. That issue I'll come to at some point. If people can sit in governance and begin to abuse the constitution of the land, then it means truth is lost. Trust also will be lost when such conditions happen. Because when such conditions happen, of the three arms of government, the judiciary is normally expected to come in professionally to mitigate such conditions. But as it seems in Sierra Leone, the judiciary is working in partnership with the executive arm, and even the parliament has been captured in the process. If the three arms of government cannot exercise independence of operation, if the three arms of government cannot enjoy separations of powers, then that state definitely will create internal turbulences that might lead to a conflict. That is the reason why some of us are talking. It's the only reason some of us are talking. It's not because of politics. If I want political office in Sierra Leone, I will not sit here talking. I know what to do. And I'll do it, and be rest assured, if I intend to, I'll win the presidency. But I don't want any political office in Sierra Leone. It's not my intention. I'm a retired man now. But at the same time, I'm a trustee of the Republic of Sierra Leone. And I have to see the welfare of that country. The welfare and the most peaceful and progressive condition is my concern. Those in governance have to own up to their ethical and moral responsibilities and begin to behave themselves properly as governors. They have to. It's a duty, a very sacred one, a contract they owe the people of Sierra Leone. I would like to go to the first issue that I'm sure has been discussed and over discussed. But I'm taking it up because I want to look at it from a more matured and more administrative oriented point of view. The fire disaster at Wellington. Before I go to talk on that issue, I would want us to look at the role of a government. What is the role of a government? What are the duties of a government? Why do people elect governments? Why do people pay taxes to governments? They don't do that because they think somebody has to be a leader and he has more blessings than the rest of the people to enjoy facilities as he likes. They don't. Nobody will be that stupid. You are elected and given facilities so that you'll be able to provide the services that will protect and ensure that every citizen can peacefully and within the limits of the laws undertake activities that will benefit them and their families. And thus, in the process, these activities will benefit the country. That's how development happens in countries. But if a government cannot utilize the tax monies that are paid, and more so, the funds that they receive from external assistance to provide security in the country. When we talk about security, most times people think it's about army and police. No. Security goes beyond military and policing estates. Putting together a national safety mechanism for disasters, for accidents, is all part of security. It's all part of providing security. Having an institution with the technical and other capacity to handle disasters when they happen is all part of security provisions by the government. So there is no excuse for anybody in governance. There is no excuse. God is not partial. God cannot be wicked to Sierra Leone. As a matter of fact, if you read the religious books, it is clear that God does not take sides. God is a passive but very potent force. He is there waiting for us to do what we need to do, and He will come to assist us to make it correct. That is why we are told in the religious books that man is made in the image and likeness of God, according to the Bible, and that God made man from clay and breathed His life into man. Then He gave us free will. Free will, that means God ordained democracy. The free will in man is the democratic right of man. God had ordained democracy on earth. But how do we use this democracy? We use it by organizing ourselves, our thoughts, and our actions for us to fulfill the purpose of living here on earth, which is to take control and replenish, not destroy the earth. Replenish. It is because individually we cannot do much. That's why we go into social contracts with others. That social contract can take any form. It can be a marriage that leads to the formation of a home. It can be traditional rules to control and ensure equality for everyone in a small community. And it can be a contract between the people and those they elect. Those they elect have been mandated to use the resources of the people to provide services for everyone. That contract of governance operates on trust. It operates on trust. So, those in governance should meet their part of the contract. The people who elect them should meet their part of the contract. So, the fire disaster at Wellington, if we look at it, first and foremost, the reason why so many people had to lose their lives is that the governors of Sierra Leone had failed in fulfilling their part in the social contract to ensure an environment where people will be gainfully engaged to make their living. It is out of distress that people went there. Because for most people, they live day to day. They would go and find for food. They get food for today. They wait for tomorrow. When they wake up, they go and do the same. In such a case where people are not sure about their next meal, there is desperation. And it is out of desperation that these people went and got themselves killed. May their souls rest in peace. And may the conscience of those in power abusing the country never rest. May it never rest until they begin to do the right thing. We have to be careful in Sierra Leone. God is not a partial God. There is too much going wrong in that country that at times one asks, is God vexed with us? If you ask me personally, I don't believe so. I believe we are doing the wrong things. And this is a very great wrong. It's a very great sin being committed by the class that have been bestowed the power, that have been reposed the power to lead and to control the destiny of the country. Sierra Leone can be the richest country in Africa. But those who always go and say, let us be elected, have never sat down to say, how do we make this place for all of us? They have always been there to say, how do I get myself rich? And that is why, even with the wealth they gather, they don't have the peace of conscience to enjoy those wealth. And for some of them who have abused the nation, their children don't have the peace of existence to make progress. The law of consequences is something that we always have to begin to recognize in Sierra Leone. The law of consequences exists. There are natural laws. Science explained that natural law by calling it the law of reaction. Sir Isaac Newton said for every reaction there is an equal and opposite. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Same with the human being. For whatever we do in this life shall come back to visit us. And if we are not careful, it shall visit our generations. I am sure those who are more conversant with the religious books will understand what I'm saying. Those who are more conversant with ethics will understand what it means when it is said, do unto others as you want done unto you. The Eastern faiths call this karma. What you do, what goes out, comes back. And it comes back to you, not to any other person, because it originated from you. So for those who think they will do things and go scot-free, be rest assured you will never. You will never. In fact, some of you have started saying it. You've started seeing your actions, the results of your actions. You may have everything around you, but you don't have peace. You always have to be looking left or right. Look at me, I live in a glass house. And there is no metal. I can sleep and leave my door open. Can you? You always have to go around with guns. Why? Why do you need all those guns? Who is fighting you? Nobody except your conscience. You are at war with yourselves. Make peace. Make peace and begin to do the right things. When you do the right things, people will hail you. You would walk in the streets and everybody will want to walk by your side because you'll be their hero. But when you are not doing the right things, you always have to have 50 thugs, 90 guns, 6 anti-aircraft guns, 80 RPGs, for what? And especially so in these modern times when technology has made warfare something else. Do you think if somebody wants to harm you, they'll come and face you? Somebody can just click on the mobile phone. In seconds, you are gone. You never know where the drone is coming from. You're gone. So begin to think about doing the right thing. Do it. Just do it. Everybody will be happy for you. When you do the right thing, You make everybody happy. You don't even have to think about rigging elections. They will tell you, stay there. We want you there. Some people may think, oh, this is no, it's not impossible. This is how it happens in Scandinavia. Elections in Scandinavia are based on trust. This is a place where people are happy to pay more taxes because the trust that the money they pay will be used to provide the services they need. That is why in this country where I live, everybody goes to school free up to the highest level at university. If I had wanted 10 PhDs, I would have got them. FOC, costing nothing. But I decided, no, I cannot continue down the academic lane. Let me do something else. So I went for information technology. And I have not regretted it. And it was FOC. FOC. It didn't cost me a dime. Can Sierra Leone do this? Yes, we can. In fact, we have far, far, far more potentials to do these things than this country that I live in, Sierra Leone. The location of Sierra Leone, the fact that we have the largest natural harbor in Africa, the fact that we have a population of 55 and more percent in the employable age, we can do better than some of these countries. We can. Why are we not doing it? The answer is simple. The elite class, the intellectual class, they are either full of themselves and their egos, and therefore they don't see and understand what needs to be done, or they are willfully not doing it because they want the people to go to them all the time and beg from them. That feel good. Mina bra, the mommy, feel good. Eh, on our left. On our left. Every human being gets the same right. Every human being gets the same right. The ability to enjoy those rights does not depend on education alone. There are other things beyond education that we should look at to ensure that every human being has equal access to the utilization of the resources and to improve their potentials and become what they want to be. On our left. Sierra Leone needs to look at itself, especially at a time like this when there is this climate change issue, the propensity for disasters to increase, such as where thunderstorms, floods, landslides, etc., and have in place an efficient disaster management mechanism. We need that at this time. And that is the responsibility of the government. A disaster management system that is equipped, not only employing people to go and talk all over the place. They have to have the equipment and technical capacity. Today I was in discourse with somebody. He was saying about some simulation at the Lunge airport. My dear God, you can do those simulations by simple computer assisted tools. Sierra Leone is not that poor not to afford those tools. When you go and light a fire by an airport, do you have the aircraft that will be used for the rescue? Do you have it? We don't. But if you have a simulation by computer programs, whoever is training will be able to do a practice that will leave an imprint in the subconscious. Why is it that always we have to be very cheap in what we do? This is why we don't get results. This is why we don't make progress. And those doing those simulation tests, how recently were they trained? Because the issue of disaster management, the issue of environmental management, the issue of hygiene, these are areas that need regular updates, because you are dealing with dynamic situations that change from time to time. Just like technology itself is changing every day. How recent were these people trained? What is the equipment that they have to use? We have to get serious in Sierra Leone. We have to get serious. Otherwise, we'll continue to slide down the drains or down the line, and one day the people will say, enough is enough. We cannot take it anymore. Be rest assured, if that day comes, I'm not praying for it. For those of you who think boy is the enemy, you'll say, if we had known, we would have listened to him. You'll say it. Maybe by that time I would have been gone to some other planet. I would have been gone. Or if even I would have come back here on another life, maybe I'll be existing as some other person. We have to begin to take ourselves serious in Sierra Leone and ensure that such things don't repeat themselves. It will not cost Sierra Leone up to $500 million to put in place an efficient disaster management system. We spend those monies on irrelevant things in Sierra Leone all the time. We spend those monies. There are a lot of expenditure in Sierra Leone. If you add them together, they go above 500 million per annum. And it's on things that don't benefit the country. Can we begin to look at our priorities now and make sure we put things in proper order? Can we? The next issue I would come to is that of the recent, most talked about suspension of the Auditor General. I am laughing because as a trade unionist, now I talk as a trade unionist, there has been a lot of procedural wrongs done in this process. I'm not talking about the legal side, I'm talking about the procedures. There has been a lot of wrongs done. Number one, I have tried to see if the Public Service Ordinance of Sierra Leone has changed. What I saw was a draft of a new public service code. I don't know if it has been ratified or sent to Parliament or whatever, made into law. I don't know. But for all I know, those documents, which normally we call conditions of service of employment, make provisions for suspension, for termination, and such actions taken by management against an employee. In the case where the employee is unionized or is a member of a trade union, before any of those actions are taken, it is normally a contract between the employer and the trade union, as well as the government, whose role is that of arbitrator, that these procedures follow, these actions, follow certain procedures which must be recorded in writing or some other form. In this recent suspension, from a trade union point of view, the first question to ask is, has there been any past queries, written queries, given to the Auditor General and a deputy that were suspended? Has there been any? Because according to the Civil Service Ordinance that I know, before a worker can be suspended, there has to have been a minimum of 3 written warnings to the person or to the individual concerning specific employment lapses. Because the other day I had the Minister of Information talking about professional misconduct. Mr. Minister, your government is not qualified to examine the professional conduct of somebody who is licensed by a professional institution. Your government is qualified to look at the professional conduct, the employment conduct within the terms and conditions of employment of the person. And if we are going to go into the terms and conditions of employment, before you can suspend somebody, there should have been letters of inquiry as to why, whatever the issue is happened. There should have been a response from the person, also written and recorded in reply. And also, if the same thing continues, there should have been a complaint sent, written to a board, which in the case of the Auditor General is the legal service or whatever commission you call it, about queries that have been made and the persistence of the same issue before a suspension can be made. You have reversed it all. Ebo. Sometimes they go boy with the dance and they make with they forget. Let us begin to do it right. Trust is maintained when we do these things right. When we don't do them right, trust is lost. And when trust is lost on governance, chaos comes in. Everybody go do ILEC. There'll be a breakdown of law and order. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate this is happening to Sierra Leone. And it's unfortunate it's happening in a government where we have people claiming to be highly educated. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to Sierra Leone. It's a disgrace. Looking at the constitutional provisions itself, the procedures have been done wrongly. And as a matter of fact, whatever suspension or whatever action should have been taken, a complaint of that reason or whatever reasons there are for such action to be taken should be made public and known to the Auditor General and our assistants. You cannot suspend somebody without query, let alone the person does not know why you are suspended. Hey, what is happening here? Is this the, how do they call it, the kangaroo court syndrome we are suffering from, the RUF syndrome? Is it? I have specifically spoken in English today because I want the international community to understand. At times, maybe if we speak in Creole or whatever, they may not understand exactly what is happening in Sierra Leone. I am committing them into listening to Sierra Leoneans because they had spent their money and time to make peace in Sierra Leone. If our country is deteriorating because of a few people who have been elected, if they cannot come in to assist to stop or mitigate this downtrend, if things go wrong in Sierra Leone, the people of Sierra Leone will hold them ethically responsible. They will hold them ethically responsible because they were told, they are aware. They are aware. It's not about giving money to Sierra Leone alone. As members of the art community, all of us have ethical responsibilities towards each other. I have ethical responsibility in the country I live now to ensure that I don't do whatever will make this country deteriorate or go into chaos. I have ethical responsibility in ensuring that I don't do or say anything that will make Sierra Leone go into chaos or deteriorate. And it is in that same vein that I'm implying that the international community, who are more or less the financial guarantors of the existence of the Republic of Sierra Leone, should come in and begin to look at how to stop this downward trend. If they don't, if things go wrong in Sierra Leone, then we can hold them ethically responsible. It will not pay anyone for Sierra Leone to go back into chaos. It will not. But what is happening in the country, the style of governance that we have now, the way things are being done without respect for law, for rule of law, for order, for the lives of people, for their right to free speech, right to free opinion. Because whatever is behind the suspension of the Auditor General, it is because she is expressing the right to free opinion and professional opinion for that matter. Is it a crime for somebody to do a good job? She has been in that office for more than a decade, which means she had been in office when there was another government. We have seen reports publish about this other government, that we are very damning, but nobody suspended her. Why now? Is this government full of cowards that they cannot accept the truth? If you are cowards, get out. Let other people come in. Governance is not for cowards. If you have a childhood problem to deal with, which is still clouding your ability to see reality, make peace with yourself, but don't destroy Sierra Leone. Please. If you destroy Sierra Leone, we will hold you responsible. We'll hold your family responsible. We'll hold everybody connected to you responsible. Let us always look at doing what is good. A collective good is more beneficial because it is a preventive approach to development. A collective good is more beneficial because at the end of the day, it creates the conditions for growth to take place. And when growth begins to take place, the ability of people in the country to be real income earners and purchase goods and services increases. And in that case, we will see more millionaires and billionaires emerging from honest labor, not going into politics to get rich. Honest labor. Let us begin to do the good in Sierra Leone, for God's sake. Finally, before I go, we all know rape is a crime. In this country that I live, rape is one of the most serious offenses anybody can commit. But if you are accused of rape, nobody detains you indefinitely. You would appear in court. If you are found guilty, you go into imprisonment. After imprisonment, you suffer the consequences. The consequences of rape in this country is more social. It's more of a social consequence because if you are a known rapist, it becomes very difficult for you to get a job. Why? Because in this country, most of the places of work have more women than men. This is a woman country. You have to respect women. But that notwithstanding, what is so important, what is so relevant for a leader of a political party to have been accused of rape or charged of rape, which has not been proven in any case, and that person is still suffering in prison? We even hear that his health is deteriorating every day. As far as this issue is concerned, that man is not there because of rape. He's there because he's a political prisoner. Somebody committed or has been accused of committing something more serious, murder. But because he's a member of a political party in power, he spent less than 48 hours in investigation. And we are not even hearing of that case anymore. Is justice one-sided now in Sierra Leone? Does it select people by their political opinion and representations? What is the judiciary doing about this? You, the lawyers, you talk all the big English. When somebody talks with you, They want to talk and say, no, 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 that's not your field. You don't know this. You cannot interpret it. So I said, all is in English. And all of us may have studied logic and critical thinking. Now that the time has come for you to do your jobs, you sit back. Oh, you only talk when you want to protect your professional. I don't want to say it. It's high time we begin to practice fair play in Sierra Leone. It's high time we begin to look at issues as they should. It benefits nobody to create chaos. It benefits nobody. And another thing is, there is no school where they go and teach people chaos. Chaos comes from natural reaction to suppression, because every human being has the image and likeness of God in them. If you push them too far, you want to bully them and show you are more godly than they are, they will tell you, no, me too, I have the image and likeness of God in me. Respect that. Let us learn to respect and celebrate our humanities, because that is what we are. It is all we have. If we don't manage it, we kill ourselves and become extinct. The earth will continue to exist, but we will not be there. Please, please, in the name of peace, in the name of continuity, in the name of building what our forefathers saw when they said one country, one people, which has been made into a political slogan, can we begin to do the right thing in Sierra Leone? It is not hard to do. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. When you do it, you will leave a legacy of security for you and for your generations yet unborn. And that's the best thing you can leave on earth. Security, that these people did this. History tells us about people who left legacies that are security for their generations. When you go to history, they talk about Magna Carta, they talk about Benjamin Franklin. All of these people have their generation still existing. And because they did what was right at that time, those people today are enjoying the benefits of their forefathers. On the converse, or the reverse side, some of us, our forefathers, participated in the slave trade in Sierra Leone. They collaborated with the white people. It is still affecting us. That's why we are divided in thinking, because that action instituted mistrust in our society. And it is the mistrust that is one of the reasons why we are still behaving the way we are behaving. Not trusting each other. We categorize ourselves. This is not Mende, this is not Timni, this is not Loco. We are all one blood, one people. If we cannot learn from history, let us learn from logic. It's time we stop this thing. It's time we stop it. Then we don't do it. So say, yes, they did it in the past. So do you have to do it again? You have to. Does it pay you to do so? If it pays you, how long will you continue to receive the pay? Will it last? Please. With that, I would end for today. Namaste.